Otto Skorzeny, known as the James Bond of the Third Reich, he was one of the most feared and admired officers of World War II. His life was full of impossible missions, audacity, and unexpected twists. But how did an Austrian engineer end up leading secret missions for Hitler? And how did he go from being a hero of the Nazi regime to an international fugitive who eventually worked for his former enemies? Today, I'll tell you his story. From the daring rescue of Mussolini high in the Alps to his life as a spy after the war. A life that seems straight out of a movie but is entirely real. Get ready to meet Otto Skorzeny, the most dangerous man of the Third Reich. Operation Oak. In July 1943, Italy was on the brink of collapse. Benito Mussolini, the fascist leader, had been overthrown by his own government. He was arrested and moved to a secret location, while Italy's new leader, Pietro Badoglio, sought to make peace with the Allies. For Hitler, this was an unacceptable betrayal. Mussolini was not just his closest ally, he was also key to maintaining control in Italy. Determined to rescue him, Hitler turned to Otto Skorzeny, an SS officer known for his audacity. The mission was clear: find Mussolini and bring him back. But it wouldn't be easy. Mussolini was being moved between several secret prisons. Skorzeny and his team worked for weeks intercepting messages and conducting reconnaissance flights until they confirmed his location. The Hotel Campo Imperatore, high on the Gran Sasso, a natural fortress surrounded by mountains, was identified by his informants as the place where the douche was being held captive by his captors. The location was inaccessible by land and guarded by Italian troops loyal to Badoglio. But Skorzeny devised a bold plan, a surprise attack from the air using gliders. The gliders would land in front of the hotel, take control within minutes, and evacuate Mussolini in a small plane. Execution of the operation. On September 12, 1943, the operation began. Skorzeny led a group of elite paratroopers in gliders that took off at dawn. Every second counted. They needed to surprise the guards before reinforcements could be called. The gliders descended with precision, landing right in front of the hotel. The surprise was total. The Italian guards had no time to react, and within minutes, Skorzeny's team had taken control of the site without firing a single shot. Skorzeny, with his characteristic flair, went up to Mussolini's room and said, "Duce, the Führer sent me to rescue you." It was a moment worthy of a movie. But the real challenge lay ahead: the evacuation. The Fieseler F-156 plane, designed for 2 people, barely managed to take off with the additional weight of Skorzeny and Mussolini. Furthermore, the German's height of 1.92 meters, which had already prevented him from enlisting as a pilot in the Luftwaffe, made the evacuation in such a tiny aircraft far from easy. For a few seconds, it seemed the plane wouldn't make it, but they eventually escaped unscathed. The rescue of Mussolini was a complete success. In Germany, Hitler welcomed him as a restored hero, while Skorzeny was awarded the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross. His name was no longer obscure, he was now a legend. Both the party apparatus and Skorzeny himself benefited from the media coverage given, through propaganda, to the success of the operation. The defeat of Axis forces in Stalingrad in early February of that same year had severely damaged the combat morale of German troops, and Mussolini's rescue was presented as a moral victory that restored some hope and pride to the German people at a time when positive news was scarce. Operation Greif. The success of Operation Oak was not the end of Skorzeny's story. In 1944, he was chosen to lead a mission that many considered suicidal. Operation Greif, designed to sow chaos during the Battle of the Bulge. The Battle of the Bulge was Hitler's last major attempt to change the course of the war on the Western Front. The goal was to split the Allied forces and push them into negotiations. But for this plan to work, brute force wasn't enough. Confusion was needed. This is where Skorzeny came in. Under his leadership, a special group of German commandos was formed with a unique mission: infiltrate enemy lines disguised as American soldiers. These commandos were tasked with changing road signs, cutting communication cables, and spreading false information. The goal was to disorient the Allies and slow their advance. Skorzeny personally selected the men for the operation. Only the best and boldest were chosen. For weeks, they practiced speaking English, using American military slang, and operating captured Allied equipment, including jeeps and weapons. By mid-December 1944, Skorzeny's commandos went into action. They changed road signs, redirected American troops to the wrong locations, and spread rumors of an assassination attempt on General Eisenhower. Panic spread among the Allied troops, who began mistrusting even their own comrades. Although the tactical impact was limited, the psychological effect was enormous. Paranoia grew among American troops. Interrogations and executions of supposed infiltrators were carried out. Even Eisenhower was placed under strict security due to fears of an attack. Operation Reich cemented Skorzeny's reputation as a master of deception and infiltration. Although the Ardennes offensive ultimately failed, his ability to sow chaos left a lasting impression on the Allies. Skorzeny after the war. When the war ended, Skorzeny was arrested by the Allies and brought to trial at the Nuremberg trials. Although he faced serious charges, he managed to avoid conviction by arguing that his tactics did not violate international war laws. In 1948, he staged one of the most famous escapes of the post-war period. With the help of former comrades, he escaped from an internment camp in Germany and fled to Spain, where he was protected by Franco's regime. In the following years, Skorzeny worked as a military advisor in several countries, including Egypt and Argentina. But the most surprising twist was his collaboration with Israel's Mossad. He helped eliminate former Nazi scientists working for Egypt on weapons development, a deeply ironic turn for someone who had been a symbol of the Third Reich. Otto Skorzeny died in Madrid in 1975, leaving behind a life filled with mystery, intrigue, and contradictions. His legacy is as controversial as it is fascinating. Was he a military genius, an opportunist, or both? Otto Skorzeny lived a life that seems pulled from a novel. From daring rescues to international espionage, his story is full of complexities. He was a hero to some and a villain to others, but no one can deny that he left an indelible mark on history. What do you think of Otto Skorzeny? Leave your comment and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. See you in the next video.